Your effort matters in your workouts as well, on whether you're going to get results or not. I think a lot of us are going through the motions versus pushing to the next level. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
This is the game of food. This is the game of food. We're helping real people get real results with delicious food. Real food. Live from Spencer's home studio, podcasting to the world. This is Game of Food. And here's your host, Spencer Frederick.
So in this episode, there is going to be a lack of science. We're talking about effort. So many of you know, and if you don't, you'll find a lot of information on how to build muscle. You need protein. You need to lift weights, resistance training. You have to have the muscle protein synthesis and all sorts of scientific terms that you can look up on how you build muscle. But I'm going to talk about something that I think a lot of people are missing, even if they are working out multiple times per week, even if they are big-time gym goers and maybe they're really strong, and it's going through the motions. It's not pushing yourself hard enough. Now, a lot of people, I don't know who invented 3 sets of 10. It's a good place to start, don't get me wrong, but I think people kind of live by that number, 3 sets of 10. And they go into the gym or they perform their workouts and they do 3 sets of 10 and they move on to the next movement. And then the next time they go to the gym, they're doing the same thing, roughly the same weight for 3 sets of 10. In reality, they probably could have got 12 or 15. So even though your workout might say, hey, 3 sets of 10, you can still get more and you should get more. Because it is the effort, it is the level of intensity that is going to change your body more than anything. And that's what we're talking about, is building muscle. And if you want to be toned, no matter what your age is, if you're 18 and you want shredded abs, or if you're a 65-year-old woman and you want more toned arms, you have to build muscle. And if you don't believe me, look at long-distance runners like marathon runners versus the 100-meter dash sprinters. The body fat percentage between the two athletes, there's not a big difference. The big difference is one person has a lack of muscle and one person has a lot more muscle. And the sprinter is more toned. And so if you want to be toned, no matter your age, your size, your gender, whatever, you have to build muscle. And many people are just going through the motions. Going through the motions looks like, well, you don't have enough weights at home, so you just kind of do the same workout and you try to go a little bit harder each time, whatever harder actually is. Like you adjust your rest time. And that's not going to put on any muscle, adjusting your rest time. That's not going to put on more muscle. What you need to do is you need to add one more repetition. You need to select a heavier weight and see if you can still get the same number of reps. But a good thing that a trainer of mine that I follow on social media, I shouldn't say follow, we just are mutual friends, he made a good point that you should leave the gym a failure. Okay, so if you get 3 sets of 10 and it went really well, hey, I did that. The next workout, you should be selecting a weight where you get 3 sets of like 8, but your goal was still 10. For instance, I'm thinking of a recent workout I had a couple days ago where, let's say it was 3 sets of 10. My first set went well. It was 10. And then the second set, I could only get 8, and that was pushing it. And then the third set was 7. Now, a lot of people have this like perfectionist thing or something in their head that says, whoops, that's wrong. I'm not doing this right. I was supposed to get 10. You actually did it right because you're pushing yourself. Now what you do is you try to go get another repetition. So in my case where I got 10, 8, 7, the next workout, I'm going to try to get 10, 9, 8. And then after that, I'm going to try to get 10, 10, 10. And that might take me several weeks or several months. That's how you add intensity. You need to track how many reps you're doing. You need to track your weight. And then you go in and you push and you're going to fail a lot. Actually, you should fail a lot. Some messages I received from clients are like, I couldn't do this movement. I didn't get all the reps. I had to go really light on the weight. And I'm like, yeah, me too. For the last 20 years of me working out. Same. There are movements that I think suck and I'm not very good at. There are movements where I think I'm supposed to move up in weight and I'm not able. There are movements every single workout where I don't get the recommended reps that my workout tells me to get. because I am pushing that hard. I think a lot of people, what they do when they're working out, and this is from my experience of working in the gym and in-person personal training, you get all kinds of different clients. You have clients that literally push to the max. They want to come in and work out and leave completely drained. The muscle group that they worked on can do no more reps. Like they if they did leg day, they walk out of the gym kind of funny, like they're limping. And that's the way you want. If you're working your arms, it's hard to pick up your water bottle after your workout to get a drink of water. That's how hard you want to be working. I'm not saying you need to put 600 pounds on a bar and see how many times you can get that, like keep failing and get like one rep eventually. No, I don't. That's powerlifting. That is maxing out far too often. It's selecting the proper weight range and then just pushing yourself past the weight and past the repetitions. Because like I was saying, I've worked with so many people in person. You see different types of people. That people, the moment it starts to burn, whoop, they're done. I asked them to do 10 and they get to 5 and like, yeah, that really hurt, that burned. And you're kind of looking at them like, you have so much more in you. You there's more repetitions we could get and your mind isn't letting you because you got to that first little bit of burn, that first sign of pain in your muscles and you stopped. Workouts are not fun. And I'm stealing this quote from my friend on Facebook. If you think workouts are fun, congratulations, you're not going to get any results. And I really connected with that quote because when I go to the gym, sometimes I sit in my truck for 10 minutes, literally wasting time. And there's that little thought in my head that says, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to go and crush this muscle group, this body part, and feel the burn for 45 minutes to an hour 10? I go 45 minutes to an hour and 10. And so I sit there sometimes in the parking lot like, ugh. And then I get up to the gym and it's like my heart rate kind of elevates because then my mind realizes what we're about to do. And it's kind of like a little adrenaline pump, like an anxiety, like kind of a fear of what I'm about to do. A small fear, nothing huge. And that's the way it should be. If it's fun and you're laughing and clapping and watching YouTube videos and, whatever, doing whatever, you're not going to get results. Initially, you might. If you're brand new to working out, I think it's easy to get results. And then you hit this point where you really do have to push yourself hard. But it's very rewarding to push yourself hard. It's very rewarding to, you got, 3 sets of 9 last week, and now you got 3 sets of 10. That's rewarding. Like, wow, you know what? I am getting better. I am pushing myself. Something else I saw, I'm thinking of a guy that was pretty common in one of my gyms, and I asked him to move up weight. He came into the gym, and I can't remember what weight was on the bar. I can't remember how many times, but let's say it was 225 bench press, and he was getting it for 4 sets of 8, okay? He came into the gym and did that every single time. Every single time. And he did a good job of coming in. He came a lot. And I was like, you should, think about moving up in weight. And I didn't just blurt that. He had some questions and stuff for me. And he's like, well, I still felt it here. I thought it was a good pump, he called it. And, kind of talking about why he selects that weight and why he likes it. And it was really just his mind keeping it less painful. Does that make sense? He should put 5 pounds on the bar and see if he can get 4 sets of 8 with 230 instead of 225 next time. And I think he said something like, well, 225 still feels pretty heavy. Well, yeah, 225 is heavier than air. Like if you go to pick up your dog and your dog all of a sudden weighs 225, I don't think you pick up your dog and like, that was lightweight. No, 225 pounds in your hands is heavier than the average thing, right? But it's pushing your mind past that point. Like you go up in weight sometimes just to test it, just to test your mind and push to more pain and more burn. And that's something that's holding people back. They think it's like, what calories should I be at? Can you tell me how many grams of protein? How many steps should I be getting a day? How long should my workouts be? And really, some people really need to take a deep dive into how hard they're working out. Now, if you're taking this episode as like you need to work out for 3 hours in the gym with 500 pounds on the bar, and doing burpees until you puke, you got the wrong message. Because some great workouts can be short. Some very intense workouts can be short. And like I said, I'm never setting the record when I go into the gym. It's 45 minutes to about an hour and 10. And you want me to be very honest? When I'm doing an hour and 10, I feel like I'm kind of lagging. I do. I feel like I'm going through the motions a little bit, and it's not as intense as some of my 45-minute workouts. And so what does it look like to push yourself hard? Like I said, when you first encounter that burn, that little bit of pain in that muscle group you're working, you have more repetitions. You have more. What it also looks like is almost complete failure. Sometimes you're going to have to drop the weight. I don't mean to injury either. I just mean you go to get another repetition and there's nothing left and you have to set it down in the middle of your rep. That's why it's important to have safety bars for squats and bench press, and that's why machines are a good thing to use sometimes. You're pushing to the maximum. I don't believe in grunting and screaming really loud, but like, for instance, in my workouts, I do have to grunt a little bit. I do have to kind of really get something deep and grunt under my breath to get the last few reps. There have been times where I do, certain movements and I have to lay down on the floor because I just went that hard. And that's in a public gym. I don't want to lay down in front of the floor and have anybody thinking I'm weird or like that I'm injured or something, like, hello, sir, are you okay? I don't want them to think that, but sometimes after I get done, I have to lay down on the floor. I think this is pretty common. I don't think we're working out as hard as we can, and it's a mind thing that keeps you from going too hard. Our mind doesn't want us to push too hard and be too sore the next day. Our mind doesn't want us to get injured, but we want the result. And I think, too, this is kind of like a second little piece to this episode. I think that if you get accustomed to really pushing that hard on the regular, you become mentally tough. Or at least you level up a little bit mentally as far as toughness goes. Because you go in there and you have a mission and you push past it and you get every rep and it really was hard. You do start to tell yourself that I can complete hard things. And it does affect other things in your life, like your job, like your relationships, other areas, in your nutrition. You're like, hey, you know what? I crushed my soul in squats today. I think I can make the right decision with my food. I'm tough enough. Or, hey, you know what? I'm not going to be so focused on career. I'm going to work hard on my